Lake City head coach Mickey Moss has an easy explanation of what you can see Friday night when the Panthers open up the 1992 season.
I hope you're going to be able to expect a team that's going to be aggressive on defense and one that's going to execute, not make a lot of mistakes on offense.
This year's offense will rely mostly on two tailbacks, Marcus Simmons and Andrew McFadden. Last season, the two combined for more than 1,200 yards in offense.
I think that we got one of the best running tandems in the state, and we're going to be pretty tough this year, me and him together.
Simmons rushed for 655 yards before an injury in the 6th game of last season. McFadden took over and netted 543 yards in the final 5 games.
We both are aiming at 1,000 yards apiece for this year. I thought we can go to state and possibly win it.
No telling what we can do together with the both of us in there playing hard and blocking for one another and doing everything right.
And if the big offensive line of Lake City opens up big holes, then the Panthers will have a big season in Lake City. Ken Slats, Wpde Action Sports. The building blocks continue to be set in place for Marlboro County. The team returns 22 lettermen, including 11 starters from last year's team. Friday night, the Bulldogs open the season against Chirac. So, are you ready, Coach?
Well, I think we are, Ken. We are a little apprehensive about this opening ball game because of some inexperienced positions, but we've got some good athletes on offense and defense, so we feel pretty good about it.
The Bulldogs have many more strengths than weaknesses. That was obvious Saturday night when they totaled 202 yards of offense and held St. John scoreless at the Hartsville Jamboree.
I said before the season started in preseason that I felt like our offensive line and running backs and our linebackers and secondary were our strength, and I still feel like that way. They've played well in preseason.
I feel confident that we have the offense to score anytime we feel we need to score.
I think our defense is doing real well. I think we could be able to stop anybody in the conference, but in order to do that, our offense had to put points on the board.
The team finished 6-5 last year, rebounding from a 1-3 start. The consensus this year, however, is the Bulldogs are ready from the start. In Bennettsville, Ken Slats, Wpde Action Sports. South Florence was hit hard by graduation. Among the names, running back Reggie Richardson and linebacker Tony Law. So the Bruins are a bit weary about starting the season with such a young team.
We've missed a lot of practice because of the weather, and we got a lot of young people. Offensive line's real inexperienced, and that's really hurt us. We're just going to have to wait and see. I just hope everyone else has missed as much time practice as we did because of the weather.
On the positive side, however, the defense is strong, and one of the offensive positions is very experienced. In baseball, successful teams rely on their pitching. In basketball, it's the point guard, and in football, of course, the quarterback. And that's where the Bruins' strength lies.
We have a 3-year starter at quarterback, Herbie Goodman, and he did a real good job last year, and he doesn't make the mistakes that an inexperienced quarterback will make.
The experience that I have is going to take me a long way, because without it, I don't think I'll be as well of a quarterback as I am now.
So what can we expect tonight?
I think you'll always see South Florence a hard-hitting football team. Our defense is going to go after you everywhere you are. You may get by us, you may outrun us, but we catch up to you, we'll hit you.
In Florence, Ken Slats, Wpde Action Sports. South Carolina head coach Sparky Woods takes a .500 record into his 4th season as the head of Gamecocks football.
Excitement about having the opportunity to lead our football program into the SEC, into the next 100 years. It's an honor, a challenge, and one that I take great respect in and great pride in this responsibility.
In just 5 days, this place, Williams-Brice Stadium, will be packed with Gamecocks fans, hoping that their football team can defeat the Georgia Bulldogs. But the question still remains, what kind of experience does this South Carolina football team have?
I look on our football team, and I believe about 27 out of those 47, either freshmen, sophomores. And, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a whole lot of new faces on there that hadn't played. But through that youth comes a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm. And it's not youth without talent, so it's going to be a lot of fun coaching.
I'm sure that they're going to want to test us out with an inexperienced quarterback and inexperienced wide receivers. And, I hope they do. I hope they bring the blitz on us. We like the challenge.
And that challenge will be there. Georgia is ranked 13th in the nation. In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. After a 7-4 season last year, the Bulldogs returned 20 starters. That includes all 11 on offense.
I am happy with our offensive football team, and we only lose a couple of players off the whole team offensively.
South Carolina State graduated 2 All-Americans on defense, defensive back Ricky Hill and Robert Porcher on the defensive line. Well, PD area players are going to play a big role in those 2 vacancies.
Marion Stevens, they call him Macy, he's doing a great job. He started some games last year, and that's our strength, our defensive secondary.
On the line is Marlboro County graduate Anthony Cook.
He's probably another Robert Porcher, and I go out on the limb when I say this, but he's an outstanding lineman.
And let's not forget Wilson graduate Craig James.
I thought I had me another Harry Carson, but Craig is doing quite well. He's starting, loves to play football, very aggressive, can play backside of the backfield, can play the tight end and man-to-man coverage, so he's a very versatile football player.
In Orangeburg, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports.
Mitchell on 3rd down. Make it 3rd and 8.
Following Saturday night's Gamecock opener, 2 things were obvious, one on each side of the football.
One was our inability to put the ball in the end zone when we had opportunities.
We've got a lot of young guys, a lot of guys who haven't played, and with the 2-back set, I think you'll see as sooner or later we're going to start having some point production, some yard production.
USC's offense averaged a petty 3 yards per play, gained only 12 first downs, and totaled just 215 yards.
Defensively, one of the things that was a challenge for us was not to give up the big gain or the big a long touchdown or long run, and we gave that up in the 3rd quarter on 3 different occasions.
Hurst has some room. Garrison Hurst turning it up. Nobody will catch Garrison Hurst as he goes.
And those 3 different occasions resulted in 21 points. The Gamecocks allowed 439 yards of Bulldog offense, including almost 7 yards per play.
We're going to be a better football team after the Georgia football game. I said, we're going to go play hard. We're going to go play to win the Georgia football game. But no matter what happens, win, lose, or draw, we're going to come out of this and we're going to find some positive things that we did, and we're going to improve on that.
In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. If you are a diehard college football fan or just a Tigers fan, the upcoming matchup in South Carolina is big.
Florida State in our first meeting with them while they are in the conference is going to be an exciting time.
Okay, Florida State enters the ACC. Their first real test is here in Death Valley against Clemson. But this means more than just an ACC matchup.
This game is very big in both respects, national ratings as well as the ACC conference. This is going to be a big game for us, and we, in order for us to go on, and trying to win ACC, we're going to have to win this one.
That's the truth, and it won't be easy. Clemson's offense will face a defense that allowed only 16 yards rushing last week against Duke.
Coach Bowden said it's the best he's ever had, which is saying something considering they've had some great defensive people and great defenses before.
Regardless of the size or the speed of the team, that is handled up front, and I think we have one of the best lines in the nation. And I think all stories will be told up front.
And for college football fans, Florida State Clemson will be up front Saturday night for bragging rights of the ACC. In Clemson, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports.
I think the guys are ready. I think everybody's been looking forward to this game the whole year. But now it's time to play football.
I'm standing in an empty Clemson Memorial Stadium, but this place Saturday night will be jam-packed. It will be Florida State and Clemson, and it will be the first night game in Death Valley in 36 years.
You're used to getting up in the morning and saying, hey, let's get a game face on. We're getting ready to kick off in about 3 or 4 hours. Now you can't do that. You've got to postpone that adrenaline flow for about 4 or 5 hours than what you used to do.
Since I've been here, the last time we lost was against Georgia Tech my freshman year, and I don't want to lose at home. I think it puts a bad taste in your mouth.
Clemson won the last meeting 34-23 in 1989. but that game was on the road. The last meeting here in Death Valley, FSU won 24-21 in '88. Not only revenge, but home field hype should be on the Tigers' minds.
I think it just gives you another great game that our fans are going to enjoy and everybody in this area is going to enjoy. No, I don't expect there to be a lot of empty seats this week in the game.
In Death Valley, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. When the steam rolled away, it was time to play football. Only someone should have told the Gamecocks that.
It was a disappointing loss because it got so out of hand early.
If you were sitting anywhere around here Saturday night, chances are you didn't have that great of a time. In fact, the most excitement you saw was at halftime, the fans in the parking lot trying to get out of the place. As for the Gamecock football team, their only major goal this season was to improve just a little bit each game.
No, I did not see improvement from this week.
We know the mistakes we made, and we know what we have to practice on, so hopefully we can go and practice this week and work hard and focus on this game and put the other two games behind us.
If the team's going to improve, it better do so quickly, because from here on, it only gets tougher.
We knew we were going to go into the SEC and play the toughest schedule in America. Play 8 teams, no other team in the country. Not Miami, not Washington, plays that much difficult of a schedule.
So with 2 of the less difficult games out of the way and 2 big losses, how is a coach supposed to feel?
I feel very good about this football team. I feel better about this football team than the ones in the past because I think we all have a better understanding of where we're going and there's more effort in that direction.
And exactly what direction is that? In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. The Seahawks and the Tigers, 1991. Myrtle Beach came up with a 14-13 double overtime victory. This Friday night, the rivalry continues.
It's good for high school football, I think. Friday night, it'll be a big crowd there, and a lot of strange things have happened in the Myrtle Beach Conway game, and you know, Friday night there might be some other strange things happening.
Myrtle Beach is always a big game. I think, and I told the kids early in the week, the mental aspects of this game is more important than any of the physical things that we can do all week long.
Conway enters this game on Friday with a record of 3-0. Myrtle Beach with a record of 1-2. So we have 2 teams with very different records, but 2 teams that are very much alike.
When you compare the 2 teams, I think they're very similar. I think Myrtle Beach is an extremely dangerous team right now because they're hungry for a win, and they know they're a better football team than their record indicates.
It's always tough for us to play them, and this year is going to be equally tough.
And as tough as it will be, bragging rights are also on the line.
Communities demand that this be a big rivalry and an emotion-packed game, and of course the crowd's going to show up and be ready to watch a football game.
In Horry County, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. 20-18, a loss. However, as that score reflects, the Gamecocks weren't blown out. For the first time this season, they had a legitimate chance for victory.
We were placed in positions to win the game at different times, and that's something to build on. We feel like that we're there now. We can just convert, a couple situations where we could see that we could have won the football game. I thought overall we put ourselves, we meaning the football team and coaches all involved, put ourselves in position to win, just didn't convert it.
60,000 fans showed up here Saturday. Most of them stayed through the rain, too, only to see the Gamecocks lose a heartbreaker to East Carolina. Now, the Gamecocks are on the road for the next 3 out of 4 games.
I think going on the road this week give us a lift. I mean, we're playing away from Williams-Brice. We've been here for 3 weeks. Not saying nothing wrong with playing at home, but I mean, it'd be a different atmosphere.
You always want to stay in front of your home crowd because, we have great fan support. But I think it might be a change for us, go away.
But fan support really hasn't made a difference. After all, the team is 0-3. So taking to the road should be a positive, or shouldn't it?
That's one thing that was made very clear to me by the other coaches in the Southeastern Conference, that it's very tough to win on the road in this conference. And I think the thing we've got to do is try to go to Kentucky, and go to Kentucky meaning business, go to Kentucky realizing that that's our reason for going is to go up there and win a football game.
In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. Socastee and South Florence have identical 500 records, so a victory Friday means a winning record. And the Braves know that that won't be easy.
They're coming in 2-2, and I'm sure they're very hungry to get going in the region and start off on a good note. So they'll come down here fired up. It should be a heck of a ball game to watch Friday night here at Soxd.
Right now, the chains are on the fence, the place is locked up, and it's basically empty. But on Friday night, I'm sure it will be packed, and all eyes will be on the Sockasty Braves and number 42.
Well, it takes a really pretty good defense to stop me because I run as hard as I can, so let's give it all I got.
And Randy has done that. In 4 games this year, he has rushed for 675 yards, including 5 touchdowns.
The main thing is his attitude and work ethic. When your best running back is got one of the best attitudes on your team and works the hardest, obviously it makes it easier for me to coach, and people look to him not to lead our team vocally, but basically to lead our team physically. Practice hard and basically does whatever you ask him to do.
And the Braves are going to ask him to continue to carry the load. In Sockasty, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports.
Overall, I thought we made improvement. We got very close to being able to achieve that victory.
We have heard that statement on many occasions, but the improvements have only been seen on defense. The Gamecocks offense has scored only 2 touchdowns all year. In fact, kicker Marty Simpson has 28 of the team's 40 points. So the obvious question is, who should be running this team's offense?
Obviously, our problem with getting it into the end zone is not one player's problem. It's certainly not our quarterback's fault.
Then who's to blame? Senior Wright Mitchell has started all 4 games. He's passed for 242 yards with 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Freshman Blake Williamson has thrown for 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions, but has been effective off the bench. He has moved the football and shown confidence.
I thought he did some things very well. I think that he scrambled out there and gave us a chance to win. He hit one receiver down the 2-yard line. If we could just held on to the football, it would have put us in a position to win the game. I thought he made some good decisions, taking care of the football. I was impressed with his poise.
And with that in mind, don't be surprised if Blake Williamson is the starting quarterback Saturday at Alabama. In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. Should the Citadel beat Appalachian State Saturday, it will be the Bulldogs' best start ever. 5 wins without a loss.
It's one of the reasons I came to Citadel, because it was a winning program, and I thought in years to come it was going to continue. And you know, we're thrilled to be 4-0 right now after playing Arkansas and Army.
It's a lot of fun. The time always goes faster. The season seems to go faster when you're winning, and you know, you put the previous game behind you and you start Sunday on the next opponent, and time just seems to really go by a lot faster.
And it makes it a lot easier with a running back like Everett Sands. The Conway native has rushed for 533 yards in just 4 games.
He's a great football player, but he's even a better young man. I just think the world of him. He's been great cadet here. He's obviously a great football player, and he's got a great attitude.
I've been doing a real good job. The offensive line, they've been opening the holes, and I've just been hitting them real good. Everett's just trucking people. He's running the ball at the middle, just running over linebackers. He's doing an outstanding job.
And what about the play of Micah Young?
I'm satisfied with the playing time I'm getting. I think I'm getting to play, you know, like I want to. But I'm not satisfied with my play. I think I need to improve on some areas.
The rushing of Conway's Everett Sands and the defensive play of South Florence's Micah Young. The PDA area is represented very well at the Citadel. In Charleston, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports.